Alright, you guys seem to love when I featured the turtle gloves in a recent video, so we're going to be looking at the best combos for them today, and the best combos to build a full loadout with. Let's get right into it. Now, yes, they are a very aggressive colour of green, and they do have two secondary colours, or a secondary and tertiary. You've got the grey and you've got the orange, but they can be a stellar option for budget-friendly green loadouts, and that's really what we're going to showcase. So, kicking it off, minimum wear, they're $360. Now, green gloves are really messy. They're either really cheap because they're camo or dark green, or they're crazy expensive because they're popular. Turtles kind of sit in the middle for that, which getting them for $360 min wear, I'd prefer to be around the $300 mark, but that's what the market is right now. It's a solid pair of gloves at the price. And then, for me, your value for money knife is going to be a Huntsman Gamma Doppler CS2. It's $555 for factory. Now, you can get some other CS2 knives in there. You can go higher or lower if you want to, but I feel like for the combo, this is kind of like your sweet spot value for money combination because it's $915 total. Now, I am using Rex Crikey as my CT agent, as you can see him on screen here, because he is going to be green, but he's also going to be sleeveless, so we don't get a clash when we're using rifles, for example, which is really nice. And then you might be wondering, what if I want to spend more or maybe less on the knife? Well, we're going to go more in both cases here, because the next one would be going for an emerald. Now, emeralds are expensive flat out. Yes, you can get gut knives and shadow daggers to try and save a little bit, but really, you want a good emerald, it's going to cost. This is a bayonet emerald, it's just over $4,000, but the green that's not on the knuckles, like on the other bit of the hand, pairs really nicely with the emerald here. If it's worth paying 8 times the amount for this, I'm not too sure. That's up to you guys that are sort of pulling the trigger. And then on the third one, I just think it's worth mentioning that you can actually use vanilla knives really well with the turtle gloves. Now, I picked an expensive vanilla knife. I've gone for the M9 because I wanted something big and bulky that's going to shine, but anything that's like a longer blade, so you're talking like paracord, Huntsman, Bowie, Classic, anything like that will work really nicely with the grey colours that we get on the gloves, and it's just something a bit different that I quite like. Now, on the weapon skin pairings, I'm going to kick it off with the USP Monster Mashup. This is a $44 skin, but it is an S tier USP skin, and it works really well. And honestly, I think that Monster Mashup with the turtle gloves, the crazy amount of greens and mixed colours going on, it just kind of works well together. On the PD50, I'm actually not going to suggest the See You Later that I normally would. I'm going to go with the metallic TD pad. Now, this is using the same sort of theory I did with the vanilla knife, is because we do actually get in idle a lot of grey here when you're holding weapons. So using grey weapon skins or black weapon skins can work a treat. And the fact this is 50 cent factory union pairs really well in that regard makes it a bit of a no-brainer. Now, I am going to basically refuse to spend for an Emerald Jurmengander because its price is just too expensive at this point, but what we are going to get is a print stream. Now, again, this is black and white skin. We got heavy sort of greyish black on the gloves, so this is a nice sort of neutral option to pair in, and what I would say is you can keep it as it is, but I would suggest getting a nice budget-friendly green craft on it, whether that's recent papers or maybe some foils from like Austin, for example. You can make something work for not too much money here. Over in the Joe Berets, I'm a big fan of the polished malachite. This is a 60-cent skin at minimal wear. I use these myself in minimal wear. I think there's a great value for money pair of pistols. So yeah, 100% this is the right play. Now, last night in the Discord, I found out that the Scrumbria in Battle Scarred actually gets a little bit of like a greenish tint, but we're going to use it in minimal wear here because I want it to be that grey pairing that we've been talking about. So 12 cent for this budget-friendly 5.7 that pairs in with the grey elements and lets the green sort of pop on the gloves. Like, I kind of like running this. And while there's definitely a shout for a food chain because it does have green and orange on it, I'm going to settle on the Deadly Poison for the MP9. You guys let me know in the comments down below if you would prefer the food chain here, but there's something about like the grey element of the Deadly Poison I like with these gloves. And then the power code for me on the MP7 just makes sense because it is that like really sort of bright green, especially like the ones you get on the strapping of the gloves there that you see when you inspect. So it's $1.80, maybe a bit more than you want to spend on the MP7, but it's going to hold up really well with like the complementary secondary colors as well. And then on the UMP side of things, the not rapid transit, the late night transit works a treat. It's $1.20 minimal wear. You can get it a bit cheaper in Souvenir if you want to, but again, black base skin with a pop of colour throughout it. Obviously, we do have a green line in there on the trainer, but we also have multicolours in there, including orange, which pairs in with that accent colour. This is just a great value for money UMP. And then I'm going to test something here. I'm going to go for the Quicksilver on the XM. Now, my reasoning for this is, one, is budget friendly, but it actually has lots of little hints of like this greenish yellow colour throughout the skin. And then it has the grey bit where you hold it with the left hand. So I was like the grey on grey with a little bit of green accent. Considering it doesn't break the bank, I thought it was an interesting approach. And then ended off the CT mids here sort of stuff for the, we're going to have a Swag 7 for the Mag 7. I have opted for field test because for some reason minimal wear seems to be caught up in a bit of market manipulation, but Field test is still pretty normal pricing at 25 cents. Now, I have two M4A1S skins that I want to suggest. I'm going to go for the more expensive one, which we're going to be counting as the loadout cost first, and it is going to be the print stream. Yes, we're following the same theory as the Desert Eagle. However, this time I'm going to get it in field test because it's $285, and really, I don't want to spend any more than that on the A1S skin. And the good thing here is print stream sold up really well in field test it, and as we've been saying, it's that black and white, a little bit of grey coming through. Pairs really well with the gloves actually, and then again, get a green craft of your choice on this, and it's going to complete nicely if you just really want that green loadout style. The more value option that I have looked at myself recently has been the Basilisk. Now, I believe this is an underrated skin. It's minimal wear, it's $11.15. Yes, it's not a bright flashy skin, and that's what a lot of people want, but detailing wise and like theme wise, this works in a lot of cases. So if you are sat here, you're like, oh, okay, I've got the nice knife, I don't want to spend on the print stream, I think you look at this. And Gaben blessed us recently by adding the Chopper M4 into the game. It's nothing fancy, it's cheap at 10 cent minimal wear, but thank goodness we finally have a good, green, affordable M4A4 skin. Now, just get something that's like a bit more artwork friendly, but not like a stupid price. And for the longest time on green loadouts, I would go Containment Breach or Theories, but the Green Energies edition is an interesting one to consider, and it works really nicely with these gloves. I think the color of green you get, where it's got like the, I'm gonna say like the angles of the artwork into the sort of patching of the glove, work really nicely. So this is $96. It is pricey for the op. If you aren't really an opper, I would suggest maybe just go buy a Theorist, get a nice budget option, but if you op and you want to run these gloves, this is what you got to be picking. FAMAS, I mean, it's not really that important, is it? I don't know how many people are using them. A bit more meta, 8 cent for a meow. The other options lack. And then we end it off on a clean but very nice, simple AUG. It's a Steel Sentinel, it's 13 cent minimal wear. Again, full, basically grey silver skin that works really well with these gloves. And now we're going to move over to the T side, where you can see I have a different agent. Now, this is actually the same agent I use. I'm just going to grab them here real quick for ease. Sir Bloody Silent Darrell. Has silver accents, which is the main thing that I like about it, and then I do like having the tattoos come through. Also, normal agents are now starting to be pumped, so your jump between like what would be a cheap T agent and the likes of Darrell here isn't that big anymore. So I really like that. I think the silver accents work really nicely what we have. And then my first suggestion for the Glock is going to be the green line, because it's $1.40 minimal wear. I think the greys and the green actually work perfectly here. So for me, this is the right decision. If you want something a bit more flashy, however, then that's when you maybe want to consider a Gamma Doppler Phase 2 Glock. Now, this is a minimal wear version. It costs you, I think, $90. I can't see it right now. I'm going to say $90. The number across on that side will tell me if I'm wrong or not. But this is very cool. And yes, it is a more flashy skin. But personally, I think I would rather have the green line and then do like a graffiti style craft on it. On the Type 9, I'm opting for the Bamboozle. It's a slightly different shade of green, but it's $1.10 minimal wear, and I just love the artwork style on this. So we're gonna vibe out a little bit. We got another shade of green in there in the chat, and we're trying to explore these secondary pairings a little more. I actually landed on the silver for the Mac 10. Now, one of the reasons for this is because it's super budget friendly. It's 35 cents for fact new. We have silver accents on our agent, which you can see here, and then obviously we've got that sort of like the grey colors, which and the blacks, which just pair in together. So like for a budget Mac 10 that works well. Again, maybe honestly foils from Austin scraped on this could look really good. And then our final SMG to showcase is the P90, and we're going to go for the Grim. 15 cents for this budget-friendly gem, and honestly, in idle, I think these colors work together really well. As we get to the rifles, the good news is on the Gale side of things, really budget-friendly, great option, factory new Envy, 40 cents. This is a stunning pairing. I will say the green on the bit, I think he's going to pull it back now. That green is a little bit off what you would want if you're being really picky, but the accent green on the gun works really well with the greens on the gloves, and honestly, it's 40 cents. So what are we talking about here? Like, it's a good skin. Let's rock with it. And I then have 3 AK suggestions, going from the cheapest to the most expensive, and I am pricing for the cheapest here because I think it works really well. It's the Headshot. Minimal wear, this is $14. And obviously in inspect, it changes a little bit on the colors that you see, and it's not really 100%. There's still some green coming through. My thing is in idle. In idle, this is absolutely banging. So yeah, I'm really happy with this as a suggestion, and I think you can do great things craft-wise on this as well. If you're someone that has taste and can deal with idiots criticizing your AK, Neon Revolution could be for you. It's $42 for minimal wear. It is I'm not going to say an underrated AK, but it is an overrated AK in the game. It is actually good. It can serve a function in certain loadouts, and it does have good craft potential as well. It also works quite nicely with these gloves, and the pink and green together, I think work well. And then finally, your big S tier AK, it's going to be the Fire Serpent. It's $900 for field test it. If you want to go down that route, you can. But what I will say, in regards to how it pairs with the gloves, the headshot for $14 versus $900 here, the headshot genuinely looks better. And then the good old Rapid Transit is going to make a feature on the Scout side now. It's $2.70 for minimal wear. Very similar sort of theory I had for the Late Night Transit here. I think it just works well with the gloves. And finally, we get it ended up on an SG skin. This is going to be the Dragon ticket. It is 64 cent. And there you go. You've actually built a very good loadout here, I must say. And what are we looking at total cost-wise? Well, believe it or not, this combination, if you went for the CS2 Huntsman, is $1,479. Now, let me just clear that up. You're getting minimal wear gloves for one of the most popular colors in the game. Granted, the gloves are a little bit hit and miss with people. I'll take that one on the chin. You get a Phase 2 Gamma Doppler knife on one of the best blade finishes you can get in the game at the minute for Gamma Doppler. You're getting a print stream in there. You're getting like Monster Mashup. You're getting an AK that's absolutely perfect. For $1,500, this is a very good combination and loadout based in the current market. Of course, you might have more to spend. If you wanted to go for that emerald that we showcased, you basically jump up to the $5,000 mark. So at that point, it really is like, are you desperate to have the emerald? And also, as it's worth noting, like, you could save money. You save half the money on the knife. You're going for like a Huntsman emerald. So there are ways to cut that down if you're desperate just to get the emerald in. And then finally, if you're after that, I'm going to say like Nomad vibe. Like this just looks bloody mean, especially with the T Agent and the silver accents. I really like this. This combination would be, for the total loadout cost, $2,574. So basically like 1,000 more than the Phase 2 Gamma Doppler. So you guys can admit, would you go for the Phase 2 Huntsman Gamma Doppler, or would you go for the vanilla knife? I know it's a bit more expensive, but like what hits that vibe test for you? And while you guys let me know that, I'm going to say a big thank you to the YouTube members for continuing to support the channel. It is greatly appreciated. We're back to normal now, so we can start getting content out even earlier for members moving forward. So thank you again, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.